golden, crispy, and delicious. These Venezuelan style cheese hand pies are beyond yummy, filled with stretchy cheese. These empanaditas de queso are so good, and we're gonna serve them with a pink sauce, a salsa rosada, that is just a bit tangy and is the perfect match for these delicious, sweet and cheesy hand pies. Oh, and did I also mention they are easy? Wait till you see how easy these guys are to make. Sally, that girl, in the kitchen. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sally, that girl, in the kitchen. In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to make empanaditas de queso, cheese empanadas. So what's special about these empanadas? Well, I'm going to be making these Venezuelan style. So if you've watched my channel before, you may know that I lived in Venezuela for 3 years, and I learned how to love so many different things. The culture was so rich, and it just had gorgeous scenery and, of course, delicious food, not to mention all of the wonderful people that I met back then. So, of course, since I love cooking and I love all things food, I love making these empanaditas because these empanadas are different from some of the other ones you may know, because these are more Venezuelan or Colombian style. The Colombians also make them like this because these use harina pan, a certain type of yellow cornmeal, and it's just the perfect vessel for that delicious cheese that we're going to stuff them with. And we're going to fry these babies up. We're going to serve them with a little bit of salsa rosada, which is pink sauce, which of course is another thing I learned to adore while living in Venezuela. And they're just perfect. They're a cute little appetizer, a perfect lunch with a little salad. You can serve these at any time. They're super yummy. So I am super excited to teach you how to make these. So let's not wait another second and let's get started. For the salsa rosada, you will need a half a cup of mayonnaise, a quarter cup of ketchup, and the juice of half a lime. And for the empanaditas, you will need 2 cups of yellow harina pan. You're looking for the one that says sweet corn mix. This is the yellow one. They also have a white corn one. That is not the one that we're going to be using today. You'll also need 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 1 1/4 cups of water, and about 6 ounces or so of shredded mozzarella cheese for stuffing your empanaditas. And of course, about 24 ounces or so of vegetable oil for frying. This amount will vary depending on the size of your skillet. You will also need a small bowl, a knife, and a tool to squeeze your lime, or of course you can just squeeze your lime by hand. You'll need a small bowl and a spoon for your salsa rosada. You'll need some paper towel. You will need a plate, a scissor, and a large freezer zipper bag. You'll also need a wet measuring cup, a medium-sized bowl, some dry measuring cups, some measuring spoons, a large fork such as a serving fork, a regular fork, and a skimmer or a spider. I like using one like this, which is more flat, and it helps me flip over my empanaditas a little bit easier. You'll also need another plate where we're going to place our empanaditas when they're raw, and a bowl which is going to help us shape our empanaditas. And finally, you'll need a medium-sized skillet. Now, I'm going to show you up close which harina pan I'm going to be using because it'll help you find it easier. Just make sure it says sweet corn mix. This is basically just a pre-cooked yellow cornmeal. It's perfect for these empanaditas, so if you can find this one, this is by far my favorite. It's a Venezuelan product, and they take their empanaditas and their cachapas, which is a recipe I will also eventually film for you, very seriously, and this stuff really is perfect for them. So now that we have all of our ingredients and tools together, let's get started. So we're going to make our salsa rosada first because we want that ready when our empanaditas are nice and hot. So I grabbed a nice sized lime, cut it in half. I'm only going to be using half of it. And then I'm going to squeeze out all of that delicious juice. You want to make sure you get a nice juicy lime because this is going to give our sauce some tartness, which really works really well with that fried dough and the cheese. It's just really great to cut through that fat. You're going to measure out your mayonnaise and you're going to add it to your bowl. Now, I'm using a proportion of 2 to 1. So you want 2 parts mayo to 1 part ketchup. So I did half a cup of mayo. I'm doing a 1/4 cup of ketchup. And then I'm just going to add that right on top. And then that delicious lime juice goes right in. And then I'm just going to swirl it up and mix this all together until it becomes completely incorporated and just becomes the yummiest pink sauce. You're going to want to use this on pretty much everything. It's so good. And especially when you're doing things that are fried, there's just something perfect about this yummy sauce and the lime juice in it. That acidity just plays off so well with fried foods. So believe me, you're going to want this stuff around, and you saw how easy it is to make. You just literally put it all together, take a spoon, mix it all up. You want to make sure you don't have any clumps. It's nice and smooth, and that's it. It's ready. There's nothing to it. We're just going to set this aside so it's ready for us when our empanaditas are nice and hot. So now let's make our dough. You're going to add 2 cups of your sweet corn mix to a medium-sized bowl. Then you're going to add 2 teaspoons of sugar. And then on top of that, 1 teaspoon of salt. Now, this is a sweet dough, and adding that sugar just really helps give these empanaditas a really golden color when they're fried, because that sugar in this corn mix is going to caramelize, and trust me when I tell you, they are going to be super, super yummy. This is what makes these empanaditas special, that combination of sweet and that tartness with the salsa rosada, so good. So now I'm just pouring in 1 1/4 cups of water. This is just room temperature water. And I'm using my trusty serving fork. You'll notice I love to work dough with this fork. This fork has seen so much action in my kitchen over the years. I just absolutely love working with it. You can use a regular fork, of course, but the large size just makes mixing dough super easy. So I just combine the ingredients, and then when I've incorporated them and I don't see any more dry corn mix, I switch to my hands, and I don't really need to knead this at all. All I'm doing is bringing the ingredients together, making sure that everything is nice and wet, there's no dry spots, and then I just very gently form a dough ball, and then I just kind of flatten it out a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to portion it right there in my bowl. So I just get a long, thin knife, and then I cut it right down the middle. And then each side I'm going to cut into 3 pieces. Hopefully I can make the pieces pretty similar in size. It doesn't have to be perfect. So yeah, those look pretty good. That's 3 from that side. And then I'm going to do the same 3 from the other side. So as you can see, I'm only making 6 empanaditas today. So of course, you might want to double this, triple this, depending on how many empanaditas you want to make. So now I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to bring over my zippered freezer bag, and I just cut off the top, cut off that zipper portion, and then I use my fork, and then I just open both sides. So basically what I'm left with is this, just an open piece of thick plastic, and this is perfect for shaping our empanaditas. So now be sure to bring over a plate, and then of course you're also going to need your bowl, and I'm going to show you what to do with those in a second. So now I just grab my mozzarella cheese and I bring it over. I'm using whole milk because I like a really stretchy cheese, and I just want to have it nearby. So now I grab one of my pieces of my beautiful dough, and then I just very gently form it into a ball. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten this ball out in between the layers of plastic. It's just perfect. It just works really well. I don't know who came up with this little hack, this little idea, but this is the way I've done it since I saw it done this way one time, and it's just so easy, and it's really going to help us shape our empanaditas. So once you flatten that out really well, what you want to do is you want to add a nice mound of shredded mozzarella cheese, about an ounce, I'd say. I think I used about 6 ounces to make 6 empanaditas. So you just put a nice mound in the center, and then you use the plastic and you hold that cheese down with one hand while with the other just pulling the plastic over so that both sides of the dough can meet. And then you use your index finger and your thumb to just press both sides of the dough together. Now, the bowl, we're gonna bring that over, and then we're gonna turn the bowl over and we're just gonna cut the edge of our empanadita, because this way we'll have a perfect smooth edge and all our empanaditas are going to look absolutely beautiful, minimal effort, super easy. Then just open it up, and then you're just gonna remove your first empanadita, and it's perfect. It's already been shaped. It's fantastic. So what I did was I made balls with the rest of my dough. So now I have 5 balls left to work with, and I'm actually gonna cover that with a little bit of paper towel because I don't want them drying out as I work. So now I'm gonna repeat the process just to show you again how this works. I use my hand, the hard part of my hand, my fingers to just press this out. And then I just wanna make it as circular as I can. It doesn't have to be perfect because as you saw, we're gonna cut the edge off with our bowl, but I do want somewhat of a circle and nice and evenly flat. And then I'm gonna bring over that mozzarella. I'm gonna stuff it. Now, of course, you can use a Venezuelan cheese if you wanted, queso de mano, queso guayanés, that would be perfect. But mozzarella is very similar. It melts really well when fried, and it's just perfect for this recipe. Then you're gonna hold the cheese in with one hand while pulling the plastic over with the other hand. And just like before, press down with your index fingers and your thumbs to bring both sides of the dough together. And then just like before, we're gonna bring over our bowl. We're gonna cut off the edge, and that way we have a beautiful edge. So what I didn't mention the first time is once I have that extra little edge, I'm not gonna get rid of that dough. I'm just going to make my empanadita, of course. I'm gonna place it on a plate, and then I'm gonna take that extra dough and I'm just gonna combine it with the other pieces of extra dough from the other empanaditas that I make. And then of course, I'm gonna do something with it at the end. And if you notice at any point that your plastic gets a little dirty, just take a moist paper towel, wipe it off, but usually even just your finger works fine. So now I'm gonna just show you one more, and then I'll show you what I do with that little extra dough at the end, because here nothing goes to waste. This dough is absolutely delicious, and we are going to use every little bit of it. So as I said, those little scraps, do not discard them. So now I've just flattened it out. And then one more time, I'm just gonna show you. I know at this point you get a very good idea of how this works. A nice mound of cheese in the center. Then we're just going to fold it over. We're gonna seal it beautifully, cut the edge. It's gonna be perfect. And then of course, don't forget to gather up the remnants that you have left behind when shaping your empanadita. And then actually now would be a really good time to warm up our oil. Since we've made about half of our empanadas, we want to make sure the oil is hot when we're ready. So I'm adding in a bottle of 24 ounces of vegetable oil because of the size of my skillet. And then I'm going to set it to a medium simmer, or of course low if you don't have a simmer setting. And then you're just going to allow that to get nice and hot while you finish shaping the rest of your empanaditas de queso, your beautiful cheese hand pies. So remember those little remnants that we kept gathering up? So I had enough to make a little ball, but not big enough to really make another empanadita. So I made a ball, flattened it out a little bit, and then I'm just gonna add a little pinch of cheese to the center of that because I'm gonna make this one into a little fried arepita de choclo, a sweet corn arepa, and I'm just basically adding a little cheese right into the center, flattening it out, and then making it into the shape of a ball because you want that cheese to be in the center. And then once you make it into a ball, all you're gonna do is flatten it and make it into a arepita shape, more of an arepa shape as opposed to an empanadita shape. And this is another method that you can use the same exact recipe to make these beautiful sweet corn arepas filled with cheese. You use the same exact dough and then just shape them differently. And it's perfect. We didn't waste a single piece of dough. Everything is going to get fried and it's going to be gorgeous. So I set up a plate with some paper towel. I have my spider and a fork, and I have all my empanaditas ready to be fried. And they're looking beautiful and they're not even cooked yet. And even raw, the smell is like sweet kettle corn. It really just smells like popcorn in here. It is divine. So now it's time to get frying. So I want to test my oil. I just took a tiny little pinch of dough, and you see how it's not rising to the top. It's not ready. So now I'm going to try it again. And at this point, see, it starts to sizzle. The little dough ball rises. That means my oil is nice and hot and it's ready to receive my beautiful empanaditas. It's bubbling and ready to go. So now I use my spider to very gently put these empanaditas into the hot oil. And I'm only going to be frying no more than 3 at a time because I don't want to overcrowd my pan. And I'm using a small spoon to make sure that oil gets all over the empanaditas because I've covered them almost all the way, but I didn't want to fill them all the way up. So then you use that little spoon to just help you get to those areas that are not getting kissed by the oil. And of course, we will be flipping them. So don't worry, they're going to be cooked all over. So now a minute or 2 on one side, you flip them, a minute or 2 on the other, and that's pretty much all they're going to need to get beautifully golden. Of course, keeping in mind that every stove works differently. And as I said, I'm just using my spoon to just make sure that the beautiful top of my empanadita is also getting covered with oil. And then I'm just using my spider and my fork to help me flip these guys over so that all sides can get beautiful and golden. And wait till you see the transformation in color when these guys are ready. They just become beautiful, totally golden, totally delicious, sweet, and filled with that stretchy cheese inside. Perfect. So look at this guy. Look at the color. It doesn't even look like the same empanada, yet it is, and it's perfect. You place it on paper towel that we lined our plate with, and you go on to fry your next batch. Now I'm gonna do 2 empanaditas and 1 arepita this time because I just can't wait to show you what that guy looks like. They're all so beautiful and so perfect. And if you find it easier to just shape them into little arepitas, then you can go ahead and do that too. Either way, they are gonna be so delicious, beautiful, golden, very impressive. And the truth is, with that salsa rosada, wow, it's really going to bring these over the top. So look at how beautiful that looks. See, perfect. And nothing went to waste. And now, of course, I'm going to remove the rest of my empanaditas. And just like I did before, I'm placing them on a plate that I lined with paper towel because, of course, I want the paper towel to absorb any extra oil. And that way they are not super greasy. They're just going to be perfect, golden, and delicious. Then I go ahead and I fry that last one that I have left. I'm going to also remove that guy, put him onto that paper towel, and then that's it. They are going to be beautiful, delicious. I just can't wait to get into these guys. So now you're just going to turn off your stove. You're going to allow them to sit on the paper towel just for a little bit to absorb the excess oil. Then you're going to transfer them onto a serving platter. And look at how gorgeous they look. Of course, I added that small little bonus arepita style one onto my plate because I am definitely going to eat that one. And of course, I'm going to grab an empanadita too. I mean, seriously, I did film these guys and cook these guys. And of course, I am going to try one of these guys because that is one of my favorite parts, besides, of course, sharing these recipes with you guys, is that I get to eat all of my favorite dishes. It's a good excuse. I film them for you, and then, of course, I get to experience them because I love them so much. So they're gorgeous. They're golden. They're perfect. They're sweet. That salsa rosada is going to be the perfect complement to them. They've got that stretchy cheese inside. No matter what shape you went with, they're going to be gorgeous and delicious. And I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to move this guy over, make some room for my own empanadita. Oh yes, I will be having both. This will be my lunch. So this is very acceptable to eat as finger food with your hands, but I'm going to cut into my empanadita, into my beautiful cheese hand pie, because I want you to see what the dough looks like and what the inside looks like. Look at that beautiful melty cheese inside. It's super hot still. I'm burning my fingertips, but the truth is, who wants to wait? They're crispy, golden, beautiful. And so tasty. That cheese is perfect. Look at it, melty and stretchy. It is so tasty. The saltiness of the cheese, the sweetness of the dough. Yes, it's hot. So you know what? I tried it without the sauce. Now I'm going to add a little bit of my pink sauce, my salsa rosada, to my plate. And I'm telling you, the tartness from the lime just plays off so well with this delicious sweet dough and that tasty, yummy cheese filling. Oh my mouth is literally watering. Wow, so delicious. Look at that stretch. I mean, really, that cheese on the inside gets gooey and stretchy, and that dough is just perfect. It's hot, but that never stopped me before because this is just so tasty. And they're, of course, best served fresh and hot. I'm going to put a little extra salsa rosada on top because I just love that. So good. It's just perfect, creamy, crunchy, crispy, sweet, savory, tangy, everything mixed into one. So tasty. You are going to love these guys. Believe me, every single bit has cheese all the way till the end. That's why you want to make sure to stuff them really well. It's perfect. You want cheese running all the way throughout from one end to the other. And then, of course, we're not going to ignore this little arepita-shaped one. I'm going to pull this one apart by hand and just show you. Look at the inside. Look at how beautiful with that yummy cheesiness in the middle. Look at that pull. Yum, yum, yum. It's just so perfect. And as I said, that dough is so delicious. Easy to make, easy to work with. Shape them however you want. Dip them in some sauce. So perfect. I'm telling you, make these guys for your family, for some guests, for yourself. Everyone will be completely impressed. They're easy, but tangy, tasty, cheesy, stretchy. They're just absolutely perfect. I know you're going to love them. You're going to want to hold on to this recipe and make it over and over. Yum. Yum, yum, yum. How crazy good do these look? They are so delicious. That beautiful exterior gets nice golden and just perfect. And then of course that cheese in the center. Wow, there is nothing like it. And if you serve it with a little bit of that salsa rosada, that little pink sauce on the side for dipping, it's crazy good. Trust me. No, better yet, don't trust me. You're gonna have to try to make this recipe yourself. And of course, if you've enjoyed today's recipe, don't forget to like, comment, and share. What do I mean by that? Give me a little like on my video so I know that you enjoyed it. Write a nice comment so I know what you're thinking. And of course, if you've tried it yourself, let me know in the comments. And share the video with your friends. If you love it, share the love. This is what this channel is all about, sharing my love for food and all things cooking with you. And of course, if you're not already subscribed to Sally That Girl in the Kitchen on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and to touch that little notification bell. And that way you'll get notified every time I put up a new video recipe, which I do all of the time. And if you explore over to my video tab, you will see there are so many videos already there. You don't want to miss those. I have tons of yummy stuff already up for you to learn how to make. And of course, if you're not already following me on social media, be sure to follow Sally That Girl in the Kitchen on Facebook, Instagram, and on Pinterest. And you can find me as Sally That Girl FL on Twitter, Snapchat, and on TikTok. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Sally, that girl in the kitchen.